Hey guys, today I'll be updating my 2024 presidential election tier list for the Republican nomination, so you have many of the more prominent Republicans down there in the bottom of your screen, and I'll be ranking them based off of how well I think they would do in a GLP primary, as well as in the general election if they were to win that nomination. So this is based off of their popularity, their charisma, as well as their experience, and just how well of a candidate they would be in a possible 2024 Republican primary. So before we get started, make sure you join my Discord server if you have not, the link to which is at the very top of the description below. So I'm going to go from left to right, starting off with Texas Governor Greg Abbott. He's a very okay candidate. Nothing really too special about him. I'm going to put him in the D tier, but he could definitely do well. But I think that the chances of that are just pretty low. He's the governor of a major state. Well, that doesn't guarantee him everything. He has been pretty pro-Trump, but hasn't received too much backlash for some of his opinions. Next, we have Mike Pence, who is, of course, Donald Trump's vice president. If Trump runs in 2024, it's pretty unlikely that he would choose Mike Pence again, just because of what happened in the final days of the Trump administration, especially at the insurrection at the Capitol with what happened there. And I doubt that Mike Pence would really want to be Trump's VP again, so I'm going to put him in the B tier. He is the former vice president, especially a former vice president to the most popular Republican in the country, Donald Trump. So Mike Pence, I think that no matter what, he would be a major candidate, which is why I'm putting him in the B tier. And when I say that Donald Trump is the most popular Republican in the country, I mean among Republicans, he is the most popular. Next, we have Rand Paul. He is, of course, a senator. I forgot specifically which state he's from, but he ran in 2016. He was pretty anti-Trump then. Now he's been pretty pro-Trump. I think that I'm just going to put him in the D tier. Nothing too special about him, but he could get some support in the polls. Dan Crenshaw, a representative from Florida, same thing. Just nothing too exciting about these people, many of them. Larry Hogan, he is the Republican governor of Maryland, so Republican governor of a pretty liberal state. He is more of a liberal conservative. So Larry Hogan, just because of that, he really is not going to get any support from the Republican Party. The party is just a lot more conservative now than it has been in a very long time. And I think that with Donald Trump, him not being the biggest Trump supporter, I think just completely ruins the chances of Larry Hogan being the 2024 GOP nominee. Joni Ernst, she is a senator from Iowa, which I think will definitely help her. And just because of where she's from, I'm going to put her in the C tier. And really, the Iowa caucuses are very, very important. It cannot be overstated just how important the Iowa caucuses are for a primary race. I mean, this was where Donald Trump won. This was where Bernie did win in 2016, but he did end up not winning the nomination. But that's one of the rare times. The Iowa caucuses is how Barack Obama went from nobody to the Democratic nominee in 2008. So it's really very important. And Joni Ernst being from the state can definitely help her there. And I think that she'll be a pretty major candidate just because of that. She won re-election in 2020 by around 7% in Iowa. Next, you have Ben Carlson. He's the one that talks really, really slow. He ran in 2016. I doubt he's going to get any support, but just because he does have okay name recognition, I'm going to put Ben Carlson in the D tier for now. Next, we have here Sean Hannity. He is, of course, one of the people on Fox News. He has a pretty popular show, not as popular as Tucker Carlson, but Sean Hannity, I think, definitely could generate some support. I'm going to put him in the D tier, but I don't really think he has a chance at the nomination. Donald Trump, I think this is going to surprise quite a few people, but I do not believe that Donald Trump is the best nominee for the Republican Party. I think that there's somebody better, which is why I'll be putting Donald Trump in the A tier. I think definitely he'll be a very, very likely nominee for the GOP if he runs, but I think that on the presidential level, especially facing off against an incumbent Democratic President Joe Biden, who I think has a very, very good possibility of first running for re-election and winning just because of COVID-19, I think that with something bad happening, in 2020 because of COVID-19, I think that ending that will be able to help him a lot, and I think he'll definitely be able to do it in 4 years, which I think will really make it harder for Republicans to win back the presidency in 2024. So Donald Trump in the A tier, I think that he could be an S tier, but he's really not as popular of a candidate nationwide. He is less popular than Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer. So Donald Trump in the A tier, Tucker Carlson, he has the most popular show in history, the highest ratings ever, but I still don't think he's going to make it very far. I'm going to put him in the C tier. He does have a lot of exposure and name recognition among Republicans, but I just don't think he's going to do that well. But I think he would do better than definitely Sean Hannity. Next, here we have Christie. Pretty much nobody likes him. So he's the former governor of New Jersey, but I'm going to put him in the F tier. Really, nobody likes Christie. He did horrible in 2016. He did bring down Marco Rubio, which was pretty much the thing that he's basically known for, but I don't think he's going to be able to make any headway in 2024. Next, we have Mike Pompeo. He was Donald Trump's final Secretary of State. He did visit many places, during his time as Secretary of State, especially Iowa, quite a few times. So Mike Pompeo, I think, has been eyeing a run, but I don't think he would do that well. There's just really nothing interesting about him. He has been pretty supportive of Trump in trying to overturn the election after Trump's loss in November 2020. So I'd put him in the C tier. He's one of the well-known people here and has a pretty strong connection to President Trump. Here we have Charlie Baker, another Republican running a Democratic state. This time, Charlie Baker, the liberal Republican running the state of Maryland, or not Maryland, Massachusetts. So Charlie Baker, the governor of Massachusetts, I'm gonna put him in the F tier just because he has really no connection to Trump. And he's, just too liberal, I think, for the Republican Party, especially 4 years in the future. Rick Scott, the senator from Florida, alongside Marco Rubio. Just nothing interesting about him. I'm going to put him in the D tier. I think he would get some support, but it would be very, very minimal for Rick Scott. Ben Sasse, definitely an F tier candidate. I think that he's an all right guy. He was one of the major Republicans in the Senate that voted to impeach Donald Trump. But, just because of that, he's not going to survive in today's climate in the Republican Party. So Ben Sasse, whether or not he can even win re-election, I believe in 6 years. So things are not looking the best for him, but he did stand up for what he thought was right and voting to impeach Donald Trump. But in terms of winning a Republican Party primary now by impeaching the Republican president, I think he has really no chance at all. Marco Rubio, the other senator from Florida, he came in third in the 2016 Republican primary. I would put him in the B tier. I think that Marco Rubio is definitely a strong candidate. Right now, his chances aren't the highest, but I really do think that with the experience that he now has, that Christie claimed that he never had in 2016, I think that he will definitely be a much stronger candidate. He's up for re-election in 2022, and I think with a strong victory there, he could be able to bring that into a presidential run in 2024. Next on our list is Donald Trump Jr., the one with the big beard. I think that nobody really likes him that much. He's not his father at all. I'm going to put him in the D tier. He's the son of the president, the former president, Donald Trump, so I think he'd get some notoriety from that. But I really don't think he would, actually gain support, nor his other son, Eric Trump. I'm going to put them there together. But Nikki Haley, I had her in the S tier, I believe, the last time I made this, which was a couple months ago. But Nikki Haley, she's just not the same. I think that if the insurrection at the Capitol did not happen, if Donald Trump won the election, definitely I would put Nikki Haley in the S tier. I think that in a post-Trump Republican Party, if Trump won the 2020 presidential election, she is the clear successor. I think that she is, I think that she really lost her chance at the presidency because of that. I still think that she would be a major candidate, but she is definitely the highest ranking non-Trump supporter. She has denounced Trump quite a few times, especially in the last couple of months. She is Trump's former ambassador to the United Nations, as well as former governor of South Carolina. So I would put Nikki Haley actually just in the B tier. I think that she would still be a pretty notable candidate. She's one of the best known Republicans, but because of her distancing herself from Donald Trump, I think she really has lost a lot of her chances at being the nominee in 2024. Ivanka Trump is next, daughter of the 45th president. I think that he would do better than his brothers, but I don't think she would do, as well as many of these other candidates. So I'd put Ivanka Trump in the C tier. Next, we have Ron DeSantis. This is the one I'm putting in the S tier. I do think, like I've said quite a few times, I think Ron DeSantis is the number one nominee for the Republican Party. He can unite both Trump supporters and more moderate Republicans. He's pretty approved of in Florida as well, considering that it's a pretty swing state. So I do think that Ron DeSantis is the best candidate that a Republican can put forward, better than Donald Trump, Mike Pence, Marco Rubio. And I think that he also has a very, very high chance at winning. He was at CPAC, and he has the second highest chance right now behind Donald Trump of winning the 2024 Republican nomination, according to betting odds. Following that, you have Matt Gaetz. Nothing too special about him. He is a pretty radical Republican. Put him in the F tier. I think he's really going to make no headway. Josh Hawley. I'm actually going to put Hawley in the C tier. I think that what he did at on Insurrection Day with voting still in one of the leading Republicans to call to delegitimize the election results, I think that gave him a lot of support among strong Trump Republicans. And clearly, everything he's done, he has voted no on the most number of Biden cabinet nominees in the Senate. Everything he's been doing has essentially just been, trying to get that Trump base behind him. I do think it's probably going to backfire, but I think that he will definitely be a pretty major candidate in 2024, which is why I'm putting Josh Hawley in the C tier. Of course, he defeated Claire McCaskill in 2018. Tom Cotton from Arkansas. He's a Trump Republican as well, but he's been pretty average, D tier. Nothing too special about him. I don't know who this is. I know I did, but I just doesn't come to mind. So I'm going to put him in the F tier because of that. Next, we have Tim Scott. He is a senator from South Carolina alongside Lindsey Graham. I don't think his chances are that big. He's a person of color, which I think could help the GOP. I think he could be a possible VP nominee. He was also chosen to speak at Trump's, the GOP convention in 2020, the virtual convention. He was chosen to speak there. He did all right. So I think that he has okay name recognition among the GOP, but I don't think that his chances are that great at being the nominee. Ted Cruz, I would actually put Ted Cruz in the B tier. I think he definitely has a pretty strong chance. Republicans do typically like to nominate runner-ups. The last two examples you saw where Mitt Romney came in, not second, but he did all right in the 2008 Republican primaries, so he won in 2012. He also had John McCain, who won in 2008, but also ran in 2000. So I think that Ted Cruz could definitely be a possible nominee. He was second in 2016, and I think he definitely can get a lot of support behind him. He's one of the most hated people in the country, but still among Republicans, he remains relatively popular, as well as that what happened in Cancun, it's not going to affect him. It's not going to affect him in 2022 or 2024 that much in his Senate race there as well. But I don't think too much is going to be affected because of going to Cancun a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I'm gonna put Ted Cruz in the B tier. Christie Nome, she's someone that gained quite a bit of popularity and name recognition over the last couple of months because she is liked by Donald Trump, and she also spoke at CPAC, which gives her some more popularity as well as name recognition in general. She's the governor of South Dakota, which is just right across from Iowa. So I think just because of those two things, being close to Iowa, which really is very important, cannot be really understated. And as well as the fact that she was chosen to speak at CPAC, is a Trump Republican liked by Donald Trump, but has a higher chance of uniting other Republicans. I would put Christie Nome in the B tier right now, next to Ted Cruz. And finally, Mitt Romney, the 2012 Republican nominee for president. Republicans don't typically like to nominate losers that they were nominated before. The last Republican I can think of was Richard Nixon 6 decades ago. So Mitt Romney, I'm going to put him in the F tier. He really has no chance. I think that in the general election, he really has a pretty good chance. But winning the GOP nomination, I think is just so impossible for him. That I'm going to have to put Mitt Romney in the F tier, the senator from Utah and former governor of Massachusetts. So this is my finalized tier list. We have Ron DeSantis in the S tier at the top, Donald Trump in the A tier, followed by the B tier, which includes Mike Pence, Marco Rubio, Nikki Haley, Ted Cruz, and Christie Nome. The C tier, Joni Ernst, Tucker Carlson, Mike Pompeo, Ivanka Trump, and then Josh Hawley, and then you have the D and F tiers. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to like it if you enjoyed it. Comment down below who you think will be the 2024 Republican Party nominee, or, and who you support for that nomination as well. Subscribe to my channel if you have not. Join my Discord server if you haven't. The link to which is at the very top of the description below. And I will see you guys in the next video.